I mean, everybody's doing their job, contributing to this 14-6 start for the Milwaukee Brewers. Can't find too much fault with anybody. I mean, people are rolling. People are playing maybe above even their talent level, some of these guys. But anyway you look at it, the Brewers are 14-6. We'll talk about that as they roll into Pittsburgh next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's always fun doing this show when the Brewers get off to a great start like they did last year. And on their way through 20 games, off to a 14-6 start. The bullpen has been amazing. Timely offense. And as I've said, even when the offense isn't there, the pitching is there. And maybe when the pitching is let down a little bit, the offense picks his team up. And the Brewers, yeah, they are one of the best teams in baseball. And I know it's early and all that, but we'll get into it coming up here in a little bit. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. This show is brought to you in part by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive with ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only, available to U.S. customers. As the Brewers move on to Pittsburgh, man, I mean, this seems like they're never home. They're home here beginning on Friday night. Looking forward to that with the Yankees. But, I mean, going into St. Louis and sweeping this series, 3 straight games. And I know the Cardinals are struggling offensively, okay? And their big guns aren't playing well right now. You saw it this past weekend. But, you know what? The Brewers did not ignite those guys at all. You know, they didn't. I was a little worried going in there that, you know, their team batting average was like 228, that, all right, you know, the Brewers have been playing so well and maybe St. Louis is going to turn it on. You know, sometimes you don't want to play a team that's playing as bad as the Cardinals are. Well, I mean, they were only like a game under 500, but offensively they weren't very good. But the Brewers just rolled through the series. Yeah, they were trailing 4-2 a little bit on Saturday, and then the offense just explodes. Just boat races right by the Cardinals and win. And today, yeah, low-scoring game, you know, kind of I'm going to call it a Craig Counsell game. Oh, well, you know, I mean, we're making the comparisons back and forth, and I'm part of the problem because I do it all the time. But, you know, I mean, you know, it's a scoreless game. We've been down this road, and you're thinking, oh, boy, Sonny Gray is just pitching great for the Cardinals. But the Brewers get a couple of guys on, including Blake Perkins, who's just amazing, and they get a 2-run single from Owen Miller, the kid from Ozaki, who, you know, was great in the spring last year, called up, made his first start today. He's been on the bench for a little bit. And, you know, he answered the bell. He delivered. So many guys are just delivering on this team. I mean, you go up and down the roster, and many of these guys have had moments contributing to this 14-6 start. Moments on this team. You know, it's so fun to watch. Again, they're moving guys over. They're playing just great, fundamentally sound baseball. Not only getting guys over and getting them in. The defense has been so fundamentally sound. These guys always seem to be in the right place. Good, smart baseball. A lot of guys on this team who've got high baseball IQs. I'm going to go up and down. Everybody in that outfield, that infield, smart guys. Catcher, smart guy. I mean, all those guys. I mean, all 8 that they throw behind the pitcher with Contreras behind the plate, all these guys, smart baseball guys, aren't going to make big mistakes, aren't going to make foolish mistakes, aren't going to cost their team games, no one to steal, no one to make plays, aren't going to do foolish things. Yeah, it's 162 games. We might see some craziness here and there. But for the most part, man, I think one of the main reasons why this team is 14-6 is they play smart baseball. They play good, smart baseball to compensate for some of the weaknesses. Yeah, you know, the starting pitching is going to take another hit. I mean, we'll get to DL Hall here in a little bit. And, you know, he might be the one guy who's struggling. He is the one of the few guys who are struggling. But, you know, I think I saw a stat or Pat Murphy through the third best start in Brewer history as far as a manager. next to Harvey Keene, and I think it was Tom Trebelhorn. I thought Phil Garner might have been on the list, but he wasn't. Those three guys, Harvey Keene, good company. Tom Trebelhorn, yeah, I mean, in 87, he won his first, 13 games after winning 3 in a row to take over at the end of 1986. So he won 16 straight to start his career. But Murph, man, just so far so good. All right. Yes, we have to let the dust settle on 162, but the bullpen has been amazing. I do worry if that bullpen is going to get taxed down the line, but guys like Brian Hudson, who got his first career win, who they got for a song, they got him for nothing, basically, from the Dodgers. And he's come in as a lefty and has thrown some big innings. 2 1/3 today, 4 Ks. Hudson in middle relief. Colin Rea, the starter. Okay. And on this podcast, I've always thought Colin Rea is this, kind of journeyman pitcher, and he is, okay. But he, again, pitched great today. Matched Sonny Gray inning for inning in this game. Matched Sonny Gray, the high price free agent, inning for inning. And Colin Rea, again, does his start. Perkins takes away that home run. Would have been a 3-run blast in the first inning. And you don't know how this game would have turned out if that one goes flying over the fence. Okay, maybe the Cardinals get all the momentum and they go on to a win. That sparks them offensively. But, bottom line is Perkins made a play in center field. Perkins also scored the go-ahead run. Perkins does a little bit of everything, and everything is good on this team. And I don't know if he's playing above his talent level, but I sure like what he's doing out there. Makes me, forget about Garrett Mitchell for the time being. I know going into the season with that Mitchell didn't have Devin Williams, but so far without Mitchell in there, Perkins, how do you get him out of there? How do you take him out of the lineup? If Mitchell came back tomorrow, you can't take Perkins out. Mitchell's not due back till early June, but Perkins, you got to keep playing him because he is one of the offensive. He's overall one of the top players on this team right now, leading up to this 14-6 start. So a lot of guys are contributing. Contreras, he's just great, but behind the plate, in front of the plate, what he does, his influence on pitchers and all that. We're going to talk more about his contract status coming up here in a little bit. But just so many guys, Hudson had like 75, 80 family members there on hand today, seeing him get his first career win. But like I said, Miller contributes, Perkins contributes, defense contributes, Hudson, Colin Rea. So many guys in this team. Piamps, remember, he was untouchable, in the 9th inning, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to touch him. And it just was a great weekend in St. Louis. And now they go on to Pittsburgh. The Pirates, who got off to that great start, and everybody's all excited because the crappy Pirates finally were winning some ball games. Well, I see they're back to being the Pirates. They've lost 6 in a row. We'll get to that Pirates series coming up here in a little bit. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. This show is brought to you in part by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. So you'll always have the part you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. And with all the parts you need at all the prices you want, make your car the MVP of your neighborhood. Just like the guy down the street. He shops with eBay Motors, and his car, always the MVP of the neighborhood. ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only. Available to U.S. customers. So we're coming right back after this timeout. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Chuck Freeman, your host here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. The Brewers go into the new week at 14-6. leading the Cubs by 2 games. The Cubs split their 4-game series with the Marlins. They were trailing in their second game of the doubleheader on Saturday, ended up winning. And, they made a couple of threats today, but the Marlins were able to hold on for, I think, a 6-3 or 5-3 win. So the Cubs are 2 games out. Cincinnati, who swept the 3-game series this weekend from the Angels, they're 12-9. They've won 3 in a row. Pittsburgh back to the 500 mark and way out of first place. They're 4 out. Well, they're within range, but they were in first place earlier in the week. 6-game losing skid. They've lost 8 of their last 10. And St. Louis in the bottom. That's where I love to see the Cardinals. Last place, 9-13. They've lost 7 or 10, and they are 6 games out. Still always very early, as we all like to say. It's just like a term. It's not used in any other sport besides baseball, where you say, well, it's early. It's time to, calm yourself a little bit. But how can you not get excited? I'm excited to watch the Brewers every day to begin with. But when they get off to a 14-6 start, or, even going into this weekend, how well they've been playing all year, just watch them play. It's good entertainment. It's fun to watch baseball. When they're playing like this and doing all the little things, how can you not be excited for watching this game Monday night at 5:40? I'm fired up for it. This 4-game series for the Pirates. You got the Yankees coming to town next week. How can you not be excited about Brewer baseball? Contreras, his contract, he becomes a free agent in 2028. Somebody asked him in the locker room, either on Friday or Saturday, about his contract status, about a contract extension. He said that, I'm paraphrasing here, that not right now. He's not ready to do a contract extension. Let this play out a little bit. Not right now. He's not even thinking about a contract extension. And he's got 3 years left. I would think the Brewers would love to have a contract extension, but you never know with the Brewers because, there's a few guys they haven't extended over the years. But Contreras, I think, is a centerpiece of this team. I've seen enough where, I would hate to lose that guy as a free agent. They're paying him $766,000 for this year. $766,000 for a guy who's one of the best catchers in baseball right now. That's great. Like Perkins. This is what small markets have to do. Perkins playing like a guy who's, deserves 25, 30 million, making $800K. This is what the Brewers need. They need guys like this to overperform controllable contracts because of the shape baseball is in. Now, we come to DL Hall. Now, I've gone 13 minutes into this podcast without saying anything negative on this, all right? But DL Hall is going on the injured list with a knee. Heard it running. I guess it was fielding a bunt. Now, I know he is forever going to be connected in the Burns trade, what he does. He's under a microscope because whatever he does, good or bad, and it's mostly been not very good right now, it's going to be compared to Burns. Now, I'll always say, no matter what, the value they got back for Burns, I was not in agreement with that, okay? But, I'm just the guy of the media, okay? But I thought they could have got a little bit more. Would I like to have Burns on this Brewer team? If you were to tell me I could take back that trade right now, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Because I would take Burns for 1 year on this team as another eight. Let's face it, they could use a starter. I would take Burns on this year's team right now if I could give them back DL Hall and Ortiz, okay? That's because I think they have I think at the trading deadline, they're going to be looking for a starting pitcher anyway. Okay, they're going to be looking for a starting pitcher down the road anyway, especially with all these injuries. So you may have to get some prospects up anyway for a frontline guy. Corbin, I think he got roughed up a little bit on Saturday night against Kansas City. I know he had a healthy lead, and I think he threw some of that back. But Baltimore ended up winning the game. But if I had to redo, man, Burns and Peralta in this rotation and then everybody else, their rotation is really weakened. And that worries me. And don't come at me with, don't be negative and all that. I'm just being real with you guys, man. I just think in the long run, I hope it doesn't. But, we don't even know. Like the starters for this week's series. Okay, normally you know who all 4 of your starters are going to be. The Brewers are going with Ross on Monday, Miley on Tuesday, TBA Wednesday, TBA Thursday. They don't know. Hall's going to be on Now, they say it's a mild sprain, but who knows? Now, is it a mild sprain or is it just a trip to is it a mild sprain or is it a trip to the injured list just to get him straightened out so we can go down to the minors and work on a few things? Because his fastball is not where people want it. Not any of us want it. I think it was clocking out at 91, 92 on Saturday. So that might be it. But, I mean, look at the starting rotation. They've lost Junis. I mean, it's amazing. They're in first place. They're 14-6. They're one of the top 5 teams in baseball. Yep. And starting pitching, is at the top of the list of championship level teams. Junis, Gasser have missed time. Okay. And Miley still on a pitch count, just coming back. He's made 2 starts so far. So, who's going to start? The word is it might be Bryce Wilson making that start Wednesday or Thursday. It could be bullpenning again. And that's what worries me a little bit, bullpenning this early in the season. Here we are, just past tax day, and we're bullpenning guys already. In the long roll of 162 games, I do worry about this bullpen getting gassed. It's so good. Without Devin Williams back there, it's still been very, very good. A lot of these guys are doing their job, okay? But they're also being called on. A lot of these guys are being called on a lot. And I just, I just worry that because of the lack of starters. I mean, I'm just being real, man. Some of you guys, I know you don't want to hear that because you put on your Brewers sneakers on every day and your Brewers shirts, and all that, and you don't want to hear you don't want to hear the truth sometime. But we're trying to win a pennant here. We're trying to win the division. We're trying to get this team, doing well. A guy came at me today and he goes on Twitter, says, "Thank God you're not the general manager." Yeah, because every other general manager has got the correct blueprint for a World Series championship. That's worked out real well, Milwaukee. And I'm not blasting any other guys, but don't be coming at me because I'm trying to figure out some solutions for this team. And, we're fans. That's what we do. We're coming up with solutions for our fans. We are fans trying to figure out a way to get this team not only in the playoffs, but beyond a first-round playoff series. So we don't last 27 hours in the postseason. But, yeah, the pitching staff does concern me a little bit. Offensively, just they're rocking and rolling offensively. And attack on those, those 2 runs in the 7th inning, and then the pitching holding still. Saturday, they got great offense. For the most part, I'm really happy with the offense, and the starting pitching could be a little problematic. But, and somebody wrote to me, trading deadline's a long time away. A lot of you guys are talking about spring. Some of you guys who are smart out there, like me, will know about, realize that there's a problem that's starting pitching. And some of you guys are coming up with Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer, I believe, is pitching in Japan. Okay, I believe he's pitching in Japan. I don't know. I don't know if anybody, and a lot of you have asked me about that. I don't think they're going down that road with Trevor Bauer. I think there's a lot of teams that are afraid to go down that road for whatever reason. Okay. But I think that's just the way it's going to be. But the Brewers are going to need somebody somewhere down the line. All right, we come back. We'll look ahead of this series with the Pirates. A death in the Brewer family as well from days gone by. We'll get into that as well. Had one memorable night for the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll get to that coming up here in a little bit. Chuck Freeman on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Monopoly. We've all played Monopoly. We still do play Monopoly. I have 2 Monopoly games in our house. Monopoly is a fun game. It is. Sitting around and playing Monopoly, hoping to get Boardwalk and Park Place and so on. And the railroads. Well, Monopoly Go, it's been downloaded over 150 million times. 150 million times. That's an exact figure. The great twist on Monopoly, where you play not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up some amazing cities that bring you big-time money. If you're a competitive person like me, you're going to want to play, team up with friends, people around the world, time tournaments to earn rewards. Get into the game. It's a fun game. I downloaded. If you love the game Monopoly, like we all do, I mean, who doesn't like Monopoly? Download this Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or on Google Play. Also, FanDuel. FanDuel, hey, everybody, FanDuel is playoff time in the NBA and the NHL. Bucks were a 1-point underdog tonight. And, as of this taping, they're up by like 30 points in the first half without Giannis. But whatever you choose to do, like if you like the Brewers today, Brewers were a 150 underdog at one point today. Again, a 150 underdog, man, I'll take that anytime. I feel like every time the Brewers are a underdog like that, slight underdog, because the Brewers are a better team. I don't care if Sonny Gray was pitching or not. Take the Brewers. Man, the Brewers are playing the Pirates this week. Why stop now? If you've betted the Pirates, man, you've been doing well. But anyway, FanDuel right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed $150, win or lose. Bet on everything. Slap shots in the NHL, home runs, slam dunks, all on the app. Safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make your first bet an absolute win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Again, $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed for all new customers. Chuck Freeman, we're coming right back here on Locked On Brewers. All right, the Brewers go into, and I lost my script. My script somewhere fell on the floor, or whatever. That's the first time that's ever happened. I have no idea where it went. It went shooting somewhere. Oh, here it is. I was telling you about the death in the Brewers family. Odell Jones, who was a veteran pitcher, like in his 30s, and the Brewers needed a spot starter on a Saturday night in 1988. And they were playing in Cleveland, and Odell Jones took a no-hitter into the 9th inning with 1 out. I remember we were watching this game on TV down at a nightclub in Lake Geneva on a Saturday night. The Brewers were playing, and Odell Jones, who just had to make a start, took a no-hitter, 1 out in the 9th inning. It was broken up by Ron Washington, the manager, the Major League Baseball manager. Ron Washington broke it up with a base hit. Odell Jones passed away. Again, part of the Brewer family. 1988, I believe that was his only year here. He was a veteran pitcher. They picked him up, and they needed some pitching. And I think it was Memorial Day weekend. The guy took a no-hitter. It might have been his only start with the Brewers that year. Took a no-hitter because he was like a reliever. Took a no-hitter into the 9th inning with 1 out. And I think that's other than, the combined no-hitter, one person, that's as close as someone has taken a no-hitter, I believe, for the Brewers since Nieves. Burns had that combined one, but I don't think anybody since Odell Jones in 1988 has taken a no-hitter into the 9th inning with 1 out and had it broken up. I could be wrong on that. If I'm wrong, let me know on Twitter or on Facebook. By the way, I have not even let you know. I haven't even told you. You get this. I just got right into the show today. Get us on Google, Spotify, Apple, all the major downloads. Please, our growing YouTube page. Search Locked On Brewers. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. All right. The Cubs, they split their series today with a loss to the Marlins. That was always good to see. Craig Counsell in the dugout at Wrigley. It's freezing down at Wrigley yesterday. I'm like, yeah. One thing he didn't account for, I'm sure he did, he's getting that $7-8 million, but he's managing in some pretty cold weather where he had the comforts of the dome here at AmFam Field. All right, Joe Ross and Jaron Jones, the pitchers in Game 1, Miley and Bailey Fraser in Game 2, Quinn Priester for the Pirates in Game 3 against TBA, Mitch Keller in Game 4. That's an afternoon game on Thursday against TBA. Yeah, I feel like the Brewers have barely been home. I feel like every game, like the last 3 weekends, 3 of the last 4 weekends, 3 of the first 4 weekends of the baseball season, the Brewers have been home. 3 of the first 4, they've been home. And the one weekend that they were home against Seattle, the Final Four, was at the Final Four. So looking forward to the Brewers being home this coming weekend. Man, a lot of road games to start the season, but they're 10-2 on the road to start the season. Amazing. Go to Pittsburgh, and hey, if they split this series with the Pittsburgh, we'll take it. We'll take a split against the Pirates, who are playing terribly. Split the Pirates and come home and face the Yankees this weekend, who are coming off a series. They won Sunday. They beat the Rays. The Rays, and I believe the Rays are in town a week from Monday at AmFam Field. So that's going to do it. Man, what a great victory. What a great weekend. Fun with the weather just being lousy in Milwaukee, cold, windy, non-golf weather to me. I'm not golfing at 48-degree temperatures. You have an extra built-in excuse to sit in front of the TV set and watch Brewer baseball. I'm watching Brewer baseball if it's 80 degrees outside anyway on a Sunday afternoon. So nothing stopped me from doing that. All right, guys. Hey, 14-6 will be here after the show coming up on Monday night after the Pirates game. And, hopefully we'll see what the Ross has got for a start. Need some innings out of him tomorrow night. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Follow me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, Freimund. Good night, everybody.